New York has fallen or is about to. Welcome aboard. All right, we've got issues in New York going on. We have an outright communist. He's claiming just to be a socialist, but an outright communist running for mayor of New York. And if this guy named Zorhan Mandani wins, it is going to be all Curtis Sliwa's fault. Now, I am an ex-Democrat. I swore to God that I would never vote Democrat again. But this is one situation, probably the only situation I can think of, where I would actually vote for a Democrat. Now, let's bring up the news here. All right, this is from Monday. And a bombshell New York mayoral poll shows trouble for Zorhan Mandani in a one-on-one race with Andrew Cuomo. Now, I can't stand Andrew Cuomo, but that's not the point. Let's go down to the poll. This is Curtis Sliwa. He's the Republican running to be mayor of New York. And if I was going to vote, I would want him, or if I was going to choose, I would want Curtis Sliwa to be the mayor of New York. I believe out of the three candidates running, Zorhan Mandani, Cuomo, and Sliwa. Sliwa is outright the best thing that could happen to New York. But let's get to reality, all right? Here's the situation. In a three-way race, Mandani gets 43%, Cuomo gets 28, almost 29%, and Sliwa is at 19%. Sliwa is not going to win. If Mandani wins, this will be Curtis Sliwa's fault. Now, if Curtis Sliwa bails out, drops out of the race, then it becomes a two-person race. Zorhan Mandani will be right now at 44%, and Cuomo is at almost 41%. So we're talking about, a 4-point race. That could be made up. And if Republicans will come out and back Cuomo, Cuomo will win. I can't stand Cuomo. I think he is a horrible candidate. But between Andrew Cuomo and Zorhan Mandani, I will take Cuomo any day. People are now talking about, should Sliwa make a deal with Cuomo? No deal. Curtis, you need to back out. You need to fully endorse Andrew Cuomo, because if Mandani becomes mayor of New York, New York will fall. Let's take a look at another poll. Here we go. Same kind of thing. Mandani is at 43%. Andrew Cuomo is at basically 29%. Sliwa, you're at 19%. On no planet are you going to win this race. I want you to win, brother. I want you to win. But if New York falls, this is going to be your fault. Now, here's what's going to happen. Mandani wants to go ahead and just tax the daylights out of the rich. What's going to happen with that? The rich are going to leave. He wants to tax the businesses, their quote-unquote fair share. They're going to leave. That's going to leave the city with no revenue, with no rich person. And I'm sorry, I have never in my entire life gotten a job or made any money from a poor person. You do need the rich to come in, invest in businesses, to be investors in entrepreneurs, to open businesses, to get an economy rolling. Now, Mandani, he wants to go ahead. He wants single-payer health care. He wants government-run grocery stores. Have there been grocery stores run by governments before? Yes, and they all end up the same way. In a couple of years, you end up with bare shelves. It's an absolute disaster. They all fail because socialism does not work. So, Curtis, what are you thinking? Seriously, man, what are you thinking? Yeah, I don't like Cuomo. You don't like Cuomo. Apparently, there might be some kind of beef between you two. Well, you know what? Let me remind you of history, Curtis. Let me give you a little history lesson. Way back in the day, had a guy named Thomas Jefferson in the election of 1800, and he was supposed to be the president. And his running mate, Burr, was supposed to be vice president. Well, they tied in the Electoral College. And it was a big fight over who was going to win the election and become president. Well, Jefferson's rival was a guy named Alexander Hamilton. And Hamilton did not like Jefferson. They were absolute opposites on every single issue. However, Hamilton understood that one of these two guys was going to be president. And he said basically, look, I don't like Jefferson, but at least Jefferson loves this country. At least Jefferson cares about the country and wants to do good for the country. He is not in this for himself. And so Hamilton backed Jefferson over Burr because he knew that Burr was all about himself. Well, let's be honest. I am no fan of Cuomo. He's going to be a horrible mayor. But you know what? At least he's not a communist that will literally run the city into the ground. Now, Mandani is sitting there going, well, you know, I'm a Muslim and you just are Islamophobic. Zorhan, it has nothing to do with your religion. Absolutely nothing. You are a socialist. You are a communist. Now, can anybody tell me a single place on the planet where socialism has worked after you run out of other people's money? Okay? It is not going to work. It never works. Socialism always ends up the same way. And Zorhan Mandani will be the death of New York City. Curtis, if you don't drop out of this race and endorse Andrew Cuomo, you might as well have flown those planes into New York 24 years ago, because it will be on you that we ended up with Mandani. Mandani is that bad. And as a former Democrat who swore to the Lord above that he would never vote for a Democrat again, not even dog catcher in this one, I'm sorry, Sliwa. Our only chance of keeping Mandani out of the mayor's house and ruining one of the greatest cities on the planet is us backing Cuomo. As a diehard Republican now, I would vote for Andrew Cuomo. And Sliwa, do your part. Man up. I don't care if you hate Cuomo. I don't care what your beef is. I don't care if you hate him to the depths of hell. At some point, Curtis, you need to man up and say, look, you aren't going to win this race. It's just not going to happen. Back out of the race, Curtis. Tell Andrew Cuomo you are endorsing him. Tell the people you are endorsing Cuomo. Save New York City. That's more important than anything else. Yeah, Cuomo will be a terrible mayor, but Mandani will be the Grim Reaper of New York. Now, if Mandani does win the election, as citizens, we need to respect the outcome of the vote, and he will be the mayor. Yes, the city will fall to ruins. There will be problems that will last decades, and New York will have to climb out of whatever disaster Mandani does. But as Republicans, we need to know we need to respect the election. So if you like what we're doing, if you like our show, if you're getting value out of this, reach down, hit that like button, hit the subscribe button. We would love to have you as our next subscriber. We are almost at 60 subscribers. We'd love you to be the 60th subscriber. And if you are the 60th subscriber, let us know. Put your name in the comments and we will personally thank you for subscribing to our channel. And with that, see you at the next stop.